You know, life has a funny way of bringing you to your knees before it lifts you up. Take Maya, for instance, a dedicated housekeeper waking up every day in the same tattered uniform, busily scrubbing floors and taking care of clients, all while her heart aches for her sick mother. She'd lay awake at night consumed by fear, wondering if she'd ever find a job that meant more than just making ends meet, a job that would allow her to lift her family out of the shadows. Most people saw her as just another worker, a cog in a big machine scurrying around like she didn't matter. But Maya had bigger dreams. She just didn't know it yet. One fateful day, she found herself at the Lancaster estate, an opulent mansion that sang of wealth yet felt cloaked in secrecy. If those walls could talk, oh, the stories they'd tell. And then, with a casual flick of his wrist, Edward Lancaster barked a chilling command that sent shivers through her spine. Do it now. His words echoed through the halls, laced with a kind of power that made the air thick with tension. Little did she know that moment would change her life forever. That house, its grandeur belied by the dark secrets it harboured, was about to draw her into a world of danger where she would have to challenge everything she believed about herself, and fight like hell for not just her survival, but for someone else's freedom. I remember the day it all changed like it was yesterday. I had just finished dusting the grand hallways of the Lancaster estate when the evening air turned thick heavy with secrets. I was restocking supplies when I heard a familiar voice cutting through the silence. Edward Lancaster. You know what to do, he said sharply, that cold command sending a chill down my spine. I couldn't shake off the unease settling into my gut, but I pushed it aside, reminding myself why I was there. My mum needed medication, and this job, regardless of the dark whispers shrouding the Lancasters, paid the bills. But my curiosity got the better of me. I decided to explore the attic, a space I had avoided due to its looming shadows. That's when I found Tommy chained and afraid. My heart raced. This small boy, eyes wide and pleading, reached out and something inside me snapped. Don't be scared, I whispered desperately, trying to reassure him, but we were interrupted. Edward and Linda burst into the attic, eyes wild with fury. What the hell are you doing here? Edward's voice boomed, his face twisted in rage. You're not supposed to be up here. It wasn't just the threat in his words. It was the menace in their eyes. I stood frozen, feeling the ground beneath me give way. Let him go, I yelled before I could catch myself, my voice shaking with fear and defiance. Linda's laughter echoed menacingly. You think a little housekeeper like you can get in our way? The venom in her tone made my blood boil. They didn't see me. They saw only what I was supposed to be, someone invisible, disposable. But they underestimated the fire simmering in my chest. As they locked eyes with me, I knew I wouldn't yield. I had to find a way to save Tommy, not just for him, but for me as well. The betrayal of my position, my apparent weakness, would fuel my resolve. I wouldn't let fear dictate my fate. I couldn't be just a housekeeper anymore. I would become his voice. You know, sometimes it feels like every step forward is just an invitation for 10 steps back. There I was, barely free from those chains of despair and reality, hit harder than a hangover after a rowdy night. I started reaching out, thinking, all right, this is it. Someone's got to help me. But oh, how naive I was. I knocked on door after door, and what did I get? Sorry, we can't help you. It's like they were handing out get lost coupons with a smile. I mean, what was I asking for? A little human decency. Apparently, that's a rare commodity. And the whispers. Oh, the whispers. Who does she think she is, acting like she can save a child from the Lancaster estate? I'd chuckle if it wasn't so maddening. On one hand, I got those judgmental looks from folks like I was trying to audition for a bad horror flick, and on the other, dear old Reverend Lewis, bless his heart, was the only one who believed in the ghost of a chance I had. It was almost comical, me in my frayed sweater, trying to convince him of a situation that sounded ripped from a twisted storybook. But something inside me, that flicker of hope, it started to smoulder. When you're carrying the weight of someone else's life on your shoulders, it gets heavy. I could feel the exhaustion in my bones as I crouched outside that mansion, heart pounding, plotting escape routes like a bad episode of Mission Impossible. I was just one woman against a fortress of lies and cruelty, but wasn't that the point? My determination felt electric. I was tired of being small. You can crack under the pressure or rise up, and I'd be damned if I let the monsters win this time. Maya hunched in the shadows of the attic, her heart racing. The echo of the door slamming behind her haunted the still air. What have I done? Her hands trembled raw from struggle, her mind a whirlwind of despair. She thought of her mother, of Tommy, of the life she dared to dream. But then a whisper of courage. Slowly she pulled out her notebook. Each scribbled note, a lifeline. Clues, names, secrets. It all seemed so small compared to the weight pressing against her chest. Yet, with a deep breath, a flicker ignited within. No one gets left behind. Maya tucked the notebook close, feeling its promise pulse against her heart. The air outside felt heavier than before, yet something shifted inside her. An ember flared. She could almost hear Tommy's soft plea echoing in the forgotten corners of her mind. I won't fail you. Each step was a mix of fear and determination. Darkness threatened to consume her, but from that gloom a sense of purpose began to unfurl. Shadows danced around her, but she pushed forward, fueled by something stronger than desperation. Resolve. As she neared the door, dread gripped her once more. They still had the power to crush her spirit. But what if she didn't let them? In that moment of clarity, while the world loomed large and foreboding, the quiet voice broke through. You are not powerless. Adrenaline surged, drowning out the chaos, and suddenly she saw the light. Help was out there. What began as a desperate escape transformed into a mission. Maya straightened, breath steadying. The downward spiral of despair flipped. She was no longer just a housekeeper. She was a warrior. And every warrior knows they leave no one behind. As dawn cracked over the horizon, the courtroom buzzed with a palpable tension. Maya sat at the plaintiff's table, her heart racing yet steady. This was her moment. She glanced at the jury, taking note of their expressions, each face a mirror of anticipation. This wasn't just about her. It was for Tommy, for everyone silenced by fear. The trial had been tense, but now the evidence lay before the court. Photos, testimonies, and the horrifying chain marks from the attic were all stark reminders of the horrors the Lancaster couple had orchestrated. The room fell silent as Maya's voice broke through the stillness, calm yet powerful. I was just a housekeeper, but I found the courage to fight back. She began, each word a lifeline, pulling the jury closer to the truth. The moment the verdict was read, the enormity of it washed over her like sunlight piercing through storm clouds. Guilty. The word echoed, reverberating in her chest as tears of relief mingled with disbelief. A quiet smirk crossed her lips, an acknowledgement of her journey, of the long nights spent piecing together a strategy against insurmountable odds. She'd done it. They'd all done it together. As she stepped out of the courtroom, a motherly embrace from Reverend Lewis enveloped her, the warmth of gratitude filling the air. Not far away, reporters clamoured for interviews, headlines forming in real-time. Housekeeper turns hero, exposes dark secrets of the elite. Yet amidst the fleeting celebration internally, Maya knew the path ahead would not erase her scars. They would remain reminders of the pain she endured, but now they served a purpose, stripes on the armour she wore. This victory didn't erase the past, but it transformed those wounds into a strength that would carry her forward, a beacon for all those still trapped in the shadows. As the dust settles and justice takes shape, we find ourselves reflecting on Maya's journey, a path fraught with peril that has transformed her from a desperate housekeeper into a beacon of resilience. In those dark hours at the Lancaster estate, she confronted not just the embodiment of tyranny, but her own fears. Through her act of defiance, she discovered that power is not merely something we hold. It's often an illusion wielded by those who exploit vulnerability. What started as a quest for survival spiraled into a profound understanding of trust. Trust in herself, in Reverend Lewis, and in the community that rallied behind her. Each step she took towards freedom was a testament to her courage, and yet it poses an uncomfortable question. Is revenge ever truly justified? Does an eye for an eye lead to justice? Or are we merely perpetuating cycles of violence? Maya's vow to protect Tommy serves as a reminder that the fight against darkness requires more than vengeance. It demands a commitment to change and hope for a better future. In a world that often feels devoid of justice, her story prompts us to consider what we're willing to sacrifice to uphold our beliefs. So we ask you, is it right to seek revenge when justice seems out of reach? Or is forgiveness the more profound answer? Share your thoughts below, or tell us about a time when you stood against injustice. Maya's journey is a clarion call to not only stand firm, but to weave compassion into our battle against wrongdoing. Because in the end, it's not just the victory that matters, but the legacy we choose to leave behind.